Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Um,
doing okay.
I'm going to provide the post conference now for your PLC from last week about learning recovery. Let's start off with some questions I have for you. How do you think your lesson went or your meeting?
I think it was very organized. However, I feel like the teachers were very overwhelmed with all the information coming in, that they were taking it in, but not really discussing the information or having conversation just because it was their first time hearing all of it and having to process what this really meant. Because in our district, we're known for kind of giving them a lot.
Yes.
And we didn't this time.
Right. Yes. And I think that they were probably a little bit overwhelmed, but it is a norm of this district to provide information that could make them feel that way sometimes. Well, can you identify any strengths or areas to adjust if you were to have this meeting over again, or for another grade level?
If I was to have this meeting over again, one is I would have sent out this information to them ahead of time, just so they could have taken that initial shock, looking at it and then been able to process it, because several days after the meeting, that's when the questions really started coming in. Because
Right.
we're able to look at it and dive into it deeper. So sending it out ahead of time, and then would be the area of adjustment, I would say. And then as a strength, I think they were very positive. Like they didn't take it as a negative, even though they were shocked and overwhelmed. I think it was a very positive vibe
Yeah.
in the meeting.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so based on that, what data were you looking at to help you plan for this meeting with the teachers?
The biggest was the iStation data, because in second grade, that's kind of our focus point. In third and fourth, we kind of look at the STAR data or DCAs to prepare. But for second grade, I'm using the iStation as well as their module assessments to make sure they're being correlated
Okay,
across.
good. Awesome. Um, well, I think you were proficient across all the dimensions, but I'd like to see you improve in dimension 3.1 learning environment. In what ways can you engage all teachers and build ownership when addressing a new system? Like you said, they were overwhelmed. They didn't say much or gave you that much feedback initially. So how do you think, what's another way to engage them if you were to have this meeting all over again?
One is adding more guided questions as we were looking at the overall data.
Mm-hmm.
So pointing that out to them and saying, okay, with this, how do you notice, and kind of modeling that think aloud with them,
Mm-hmm.
as well as I kind of stated earlier, showing them that PowerPoint ahead of time, because I had suggestions for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they were ready for those conversations because they hadn't previewed the information.
Right. How about for building ownership? How do you think, moving forward with this new system, how would you build ownership? How would they build ownership to this new learning recovery thing?
I think for the learning recovery, it's kind of teaching them to build ownership on their own already, because they have their freedom in their small groups. It's not that you have to use this resource or that resource.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest is going to be about them pulling that data and understanding how to pull it and which data is important. So moving forward, having those data conferences of teaching them how to pull that data.
Okay, well, that's a really good idea. Which goes into your next step that I think you should have as a specialist. So to increase engagement and ownership of teachers, I'd like you to reference the AEL framework discussed in our previous class, and that was developing self and others. And remember, effective teachers make the greatest impact on students in the classroom. Therefore, this should be a good goal for you, especially when you just said that you want teachers to look into data, and they have to know the data in order to, create strong recovery plans and build ownership. So you mentioned that you'd like to show them how to do that more, right?
Right.
And I would like for you to try to do that with your teachers so that they do have a little bit more ownership, and hopefully that increases their abilities to collect, analyze data, and refine their instructions in the classroom.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And that's I really take that feedback to heart. So I think
Awesome.
a good
Well,
goal to
I'll
have.
follow up with you in 2 weeks. Let me know if you have a plan on how you'd like to train your teachers or help your teachers out with
Okay.
data collection and analyzing their own stuff in order to build ownership with learning recovery.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's nice talking to you.
Yes. Thank you.